Hi there, my name is natekokernot, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about another central issue in the Course in Miracles called the authority problem. The authority problem also happens to be, at least as I perceive it, the major problem in the world today. It's essentially how we're all really trying to form a worldview, and this is trying to bring emotions into the issue. We're all trying to form a worldview in ourselves that basically minimizes surprise and shock so that we have the sense of security and safety. Whether or not it's a true sense of safety and security or a false sense of security doesn't really matter as much as us believing that we're safe, because that's what makes us feel safe, is believing that we're safe. So as we develop our worldviews or belief systems, it's pretty natural and understandable that we all cling to them like a life raft, and that we get into conversations with people who have worldviews other than ours, and they start to articulate their worldview. It can feel threatening to our worldview if it is not aligned. And that's not the only if. The other if is if our worldview isn't that stable, as in we doubt it sometimes. And because we both have egos and Holy Spirit in our minds, two different thought systems trying to exist at once in one mind, most of our belief systems are not that stable. And that would explain why oftentimes when we are having a conversation with somebody and they say something that does not align with how we see things, we can actually feel a spike of fear in that moment. And now in this world where there's pretty much 8 billion different belief systems, we've taken on postmodernism as our central ethos, you could say, then yes, there's too many truths flying around, and we're all feeling pretty overwhelmed, trying to get a handle on what's actually real and what's actually not. So I'm going to read a passage from the Course that kind of gets at the heart of the authority problem. Peace is a natural heritage of the Son. Everyone is free to refuse to accept his inheritance, but he is not free to establish what his inheritance is. The problem which everyone must decide is the fundamental question of his own authorship. All fear comes ultimately, and sometimes by way of very devious routes, from the denial of authorship. The offense is never to God, but only to the denier himself. He has thrown away the reason for his own peace, and sees himself only in pieces. This strange perception is an authority problem. So really at the heart of what the authority problem is the belief that I am the author of myself. Now let's play this out. Thinking that I am the author of myself as this separate body entails or implies that now my will and my agenda is not necessarily aligned with all of the other wills and agendas of the people around me. Now, Jesus in the Course in Miracles is saying that's not your true self. That separate body is just an illusion. You don't have to actually take that as your identity. And of course, the separate identity of the ego screams resistance at that and says, how dare you try to take over my free will? And Jesus tells you, well, whoever you believe you are is going to be the decisive factor in the experience that you have. In other words, this whole dream of separation arose from your believing that you are a separate self in a body. So the way that the Course in Miracles is trying to explain the nuance of this is you are actually the author of your experience, in that you are projecting an experience onto the world. But the experience that you're projecting onto the world is reflective of who you think you are. And so as long as you choose with your free will to continue to believe that you are a body separate from everything, you'll have that. And you can pretty much guarantee that you'll have fear and hatred and a lot of suffering in the mix, because that's what you get from believing that you're our separate self. See, Jesus makes it clear elsewhere in the Course that one of God's laws is that as Jesus is arranging the atonement or the great awakening of everyone, Jesus is not allowed to overpower our free will. So if he offers us the miracle and we refuse us, he just accepts that and calls an audible, goes looking for somebody else to perform the same miracle. And so, if you look at it this way, you could say that all of your fear, all of your anxiety, all of your depression, all of your longing and suffering are direct results of your believing that you are something that God didn't create. So you can have that authority if you'd like. You have free will, but do you really want that? And that is essentially what led me to look at that passage in the Course that says, you will believe this Course entirely or not at all, and decide that I had to accept this guy's belief or this guy's concepts and ideas about reality if I really want to truly feel safe and secure and loved. So really the prayer that corrects for the authority problem would be, thy will be done, God, not my will. And that's something that in practice we have to do every time we make a decision throughout the day, that we have to ask ourselves, is it the part of me that wants to believe I'm separate that is making this decision right now? And if it is, then I need to hand it over to Jesus or to the Holy Spirit, whichever I prefer, and ask for its guidance. It's basically the correction for my way or the highway. Because my way or the highway, I know it better than anybody. It just gets you into a lot of conflict. So it's learning how to listen to guidance from the silence and really stepping into trusting God's plan for you. And what that kind of brings you to is an acceptance of whatever is there right now. That must have been God's plan or it would not exist. And therefore, I could either butt my head against it and will that it be something different, or I can step into just accepting what is. That's really the resolution of the authority problem. And that is what changes your attitude towards the things around you, the people around you, and allows you to actually attain peace and joy, invulnerable of what's happening around you. All right, so if you're finding these ideas helpful, I would very much appreciate you liking and subscribing to the channel and helping out the algorithm so that this message can get out to more people. And please leave a comment below. I've really been enjoying the comments lately. So thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a wonderful day full of blessings and miracles. Take care.